Our team has been working hard on season 4 of Crossing Cultures. Myself and my good friend Dr. Brian Howell got together and we've had some amazing conversations with people that you're not going to want to miss. I cannot wait to share these with you. But sometimes life throws us curveballs.
Overnight, in the capital of Ukraine, the sound of missile strikes and air sirens.
The images that are coming out of Ukraine depict a surreal
Russian
scene.
forces are 20 miles
Russia's
from Kiev.
full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the largest invasion of a neighboring country in Europe since World War II.
This is why on this season of Crossing Cultures, we are going to focus our attention on Ukraine. Calvary San Diego's ministry in Ukraine began in prayer and then continued with my family and I taking a trip over to Eastern Europe. And then it came all the way to our borders right here in San Diego, 10 minutes away from our church. This is why I'm pausing what was supposed to be season 4 with Dr. Howell. And we're going to focus on the beautiful things that God has done in these last couple of months. And let's be clear, what's happening in Ukraine is the story of heartbreak, of suffering, of death on an unimaginable scale. We don't want to make light of the tragedies unfolding, but in a small way show a thread of God's grace in the midst of hardship. On February 24, Russia invaded Ukraine. It has been nothing but sadness upon sadness. And we want to tell you about the favor of God in our small sphere of experience during this terrible time. While the war continues in Ukraine, millions of Ukrainians have taken refuge across Europe. For some, the only place they have family or friends willing to take them in is right here in the United States. Until recently, the only way into the US for Ukrainian refugees was via the land border between Mexico and the US. All of it was centered right here at the Tijuana-San Diego border crossing. Our church, Calvary San Diego, had the unprecedented opportunity to be front and center as over 20,000 Ukrainians came into America. We served together with different religious and non-religious groups. Jews, Catholics, Christians, atheists, Muslims. We were all in this together to help our Ukrainian friends. We had unprecedented support from the Mexican and the US government. Our church experienced firsthand what it looks like to offer the little that we have and watch Jesus multiply it.
The local church is taking in Ukrainian refugee families who need help after escaping their
The
country.
assistant pastor here tells me they've helped about 200 to 400 families
It's
per
not
day.
like having strangers in our house. It's like, I feel like we've known them. We wanted to help them and bless them, but they have been a huge blessing to us.
The expectations of our church in opening up their homes, offering a ride or a meal to Ukrainians, started very small. But what started as just a few Ukrainian families quickly became thousands. And this is not about a heroic church or about a deserving people group. What we're learning is that you can never outgive God. This is not the story of good people versus bad people or people helping those in need. It's the story of all people needing help and Jesus in the different seasons of our lives. Our Ukrainian friends needed help getting into America and onto the next phase of their lives. We needed them to remind us of the global heart of God. For us, John 3:16, for God so loved the world, has taken on a whole new depth. Our staff at Calvary San Diego have been throwing around the idea of what it looks like to be a local church with a global heart. What does it look like to be in season and out of season? What does it look like to meet urgent needs? What does it look like to jump into a global crisis abroad and locally? I cannot tell you what a privilege the last couple of months have been for me personally and for our church. We have experienced a work of the Holy Spirit in us and through us like never before. In this season of Crossing Cultures, we will unpack the thread of God's favor in the midst of tragedy. You're not going to want to miss these episodes of Crossing Cultures. As much as it was a life-changing experience for us, I promise it'll be a life-giving experience for you.
We've been so blessed to be able to help those in need. We are meeting them at the border, going there in a van, picking them up, bringing them to the church. However we could be of service to them is such a blessing for us.
Hi, my name is Phil Metzger, and in 1992 I moved to Moscow, Russia. From there, I lived in the beautiful Central European country of Hungary, where my family and I spent the next 20 years living, learning, and sharing about Jesus. Different foods, culture, and language, but underneath it all, we discovered the most amazing people. We learned that to share the gospel effectively, we had to adjust. We had to cross cultures. Now we're back in the U.S., and we're discovering that this country is a melting pot of culture. This show is committed to helping Christians connect to those who think, believe, and live differently than them. This is Crossing Cultures.